Most people do not want to sit with emotion. They don't. They want to get rid of it. So they will drink, shag, take drugs, anything.
I will do those things still.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
for different reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in the same time.
Yeah.
Hi guys, welcome to the next episode of the Michael Serwa Show. I'm Michael and I have a lovely friend with me today, Gina. Gina, thank you very much for coming.
Nice to meet you.
It took you quite a while to get here, right? You live...
Out in Surrey.
Surrey, yeah. How long did it take you to get here?
It's about 20 minutes on the train, so not that bad actually. Direct main line. I don't live on the coast, so it's about halfway between London and the coast.
Right. So then you can get to the beach.
Yeah, quite easily. In fact, it's longer to get down to the beach than it is into London.
How interesting is that? Because they structure it like that. So Gina is a yoga instructor as well as relationship coach. Do you feel at heart, do you feel more of a yoga teacher / instructor, relationship coach, or none of this?
Yoga, for sure. Yeah. That's what's coming through really strongly these days is yoga. I'm still a relationship coach. You don't actually lose the ability to do it. It's just that from a business perspective, I don't actively market it these days, although all the juiciness of working with couples is still there. And
I'm sure there's the elements, the two disciplines overlap.
Definitely, because it's all about the relationship to life.
I have a confession to make.
Go.
I hate yoga.
Do you?
I love you, but I hate yoga.
Really? Why do you hate it?
It's boring for me.
Really? So how have you tried it? What type of yoga have you done?
I've tried it twice.
Right.
2 different kinds. Because someone say, but this one is kind of slow, I'll try this one. I can't. I need to, when I think about physical activity, it has to be more active. So I struggle with that. But at the same time, I get the benefit. I know many people that do yoga regularly, they absolutely love it. I always say to my clients and friends, listen, it's not about doing one particular kind of exercise or activity. You need to find the one that resonates with you.
Yes.
Because that's the one you're going to stick to.
Right. And it evolves. Because how old are you? Can I ask you that?
22.
Yeah, and a couple more years. But I
32.
You evolve. I mean, when I was your age, and I'm a little bit older than you, but when I was your age, I was going to the gym, and I was, the whole yin and yang thing. Okay, so yang is more masculine, yin is more feminine, and I think you go through stages of life where you want to push and achieve and learn. You're racing through, so I can see how yoga probably wouldn't work for people when you're in that place of life, when you're building and creating and developing, and sometimes yoga can seem, is that it? It's a bit dull, it's a bit boring. And then you evolve. I mean, I'm in a stage of life now where I'm more yin, so if I compare it to you, I would probably say I'm slower, I'm more deliberate, I'm more peaceful, I do less in my life. The simpler I live my life, the happier I am. So yoga's my life companion, and I think you can adapt it to however you want it to be. So it could be fast paced, like for example Bikram. Have you tried Bikram in the hot room? Try it.
You didn't pay me enough to do that. I don't like heat. I don't like
really?
Yoga and I don't like heat.
Excellent. Okay, so Bikram is definitely not for you. But the style of Ashtanga is like a stronger yoga where you flow through the whole class and there's really no breaks. I mean, that would probably be
flow. What do you mean flow?
Flow meaning that you don't stop. You just go from one posture to another to another to another with no breaks.
There's no time. So
it is physically demanding.
I think I tried one of the ones I've tried was something was called Kundalini.
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yeah. Movement of energy in the spine. It's not easy, Kundalini, but I think there's more spiritual stuff with Kundalini, and that's not even.
I think there's something about this kind of static, more static movement that I just don't like. Because I remember having a personal trainer in the past when we were doing stretching. He was asking me to stretch. I said no. You had to stretch me. I would never stretch myself because it's just. I find it boring, all of this kind of discipline.
I get it, I really do. I understand.
Are you saying like when I get a little bit older, I might...
Well, I think people come to it from different reasons. I mean, I came to yoga through suffering. My marriage had broken up and I was in a really bad place. So it was like a dark time of my life. And because I was emotionally screwed up I could have said so much more there. Emotionally, and so I was looking for something to repair, and my mum and I went along to a yoga class locally, and we ended up with this teacher who's amazing. She was 72 and amazing body and so agile, and I was thinking, wow, that's pretty incredible. But I was looking for peace because I was mentally shagged and in a really bad place.
Did it help?
And it really helped. So I came to it through suffering, and I know other people who've come to yoga because there's some kind of thing that helps them land.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And start to find a place to turn around. And other people use it for fitness reasons. Some people use it as a balance. Like, for example, if quite a lot of my students do activities, so go to the gym, go running, whatever, and yoga is the companion.
Right.
So you can have
counterbalance.
Right. Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that there's more women practicing yoga than men?
Yeah, there's still about 75% women to men. And interestingly, the Bikram yoga, the hot yoga, that's where a lot of the men hang out. So I've got a theory on that. It's about sweating and the physical thing, because there's that thing of sweating masculinity,
I know, I had a
Plus,
idea in my head.
There's all these scantily clad women in the room.
That's the one I had in mind.
And they don't wear much. Some of them wear bikini tops, and I've seen one girl wearing a thong.
It's quite good fun. I think I might reconsider this, Bikram.
It's fun, and there's loads of people in the room, so it's like that big, sweaty kind of mass of people. It's.
I remember having sessions with this client who was coming to see me after his Bikram yoga. He would drink a liter of water during 1 hour session. Yeah. He wouldn't stop drinking, which makes sense because he would sweat there for 90 minutes. Yeah. Or so. Is there any particular kind of yoga that you teach, or do you have a spectrum of styles of yoga that you teach?
Yeah, I love talking about this. It's exciting. I think the umbrella of what I teach is mindfulness. And that's a big buzzword in the world now. So mindfulness means, can I be present to my movement? In other words, am I in my body, or am I thinking about something else while I'm doing yoga? If your mind is distracted elsewhere and you're just doing your postures, to me that's not yoga.
That's what I was doing.
So mindfulness is about the completion of being right here, right now, in this moment. And a lot of people miss that, Michael. We're just running in life. But there's times of life where you want to run, because actually, look at you. You don't look bedraggled and knackered. You look incongruent with your lifestyle, which is fine. The styles of yoga I teach, when I came to teaching, and what I've been doing all along as a practitioner of 20 years and teaching for about 8 years, is Hatha yoga, which is like the umbrella of all the yoga. Yeah, it's the umbrella. Hatha means sun and energy, and it's just all of that stuff under one umbrella. But I'm actually evolving to teach yin yoga, which is all floor-based postures that are static. You hold them for 3 to 5 minutes, and it works on the connective tissue between the bones, the muscles, and the ligaments and tendons. And actually, it's more emotional yoga. When you come into a static posture and you're holding it, there's tightness in your body. When it releases, sometimes there's emotional release too. It's fascinating to watch people do it. And I also teach restorative yoga, which is really restful stuff where you get a chance to give the mind a break, really. So your body's not doing anything. It's supported on cushions and blocks and blankets, and it's an incredibly nurturing thing. A lot of students have fed back to me about how nurturing it is when they feel held by, and there's emotional release in that too. So it's just such an amazing subject for emotional work as well. And some people are afraid of that bit, Michael. They're afraid of, they just want to do yoga and they want to do postures and they want to leave the room. That's cool. I'm really,
in and out.
I'm not criticising that. It's just I don't teach that because there's a completeness when your mind arrives.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's a form of, I see yoga as a form of meditation, really.
It is. I mean,
it's like an active meditation.
Yeah. If you read lots of literature about yoga from the ancient times, like 5,000 years ago, it was all about breathing, because in yoga you have the posture work and then you have pranayama, which is effectively breathing techniques that you learn, and the breath connects you into your body. But in ancient days it was breath work and meditation. We've only created the posture work, which is called the asana, in the last 100 years. So actually, that from an evolutionary perspective, that's quite new. The Western yoga has created the posture work. The ancient yogis were all breath work and meditation. How do you connect to God?
So it's like a Western adjustment to this.
Yeah, and then Bikram is the funky new. you know, and now you're getting yoga lattes and yoga this and yoga that, because the expansion of humanity is bound to create diversity. That's brilliant, you know, because as human beings, we lean towards growth and expansion. That's just what we do.
Our nature.
Yeah.
So how do you teach? You have your weekly classes?
I have some weekly classes. I've gone through
many retreats.
I teach less now, because I didn't really want my business model to be about teaching 15 classes a week.
Yeah.
Because I think anything you do repetitively like that, all, it becomes like a job. And so I taught solidly for about 5 years because I needed to have experience of bodies. Because you get your qualification, but you know nothing really, because you've got to then become hands-on. I'm hands-on with my clients because I want to get them to feel the adjustment if they're doing something that might be unsafe. So nowadays I teach about 3 classes a week. I focus on one-to-one yoga, which is much more powerful. When I'm in a room with someone, I can really grab their attention.
So when you say yoga. 3 classes, that's 3 classes plus one-to-ones?
Yes, and then retreats.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the retreats, because I know you run these retreats, and for people watching it, I can't think of a better person to go up for a retreat.
Yeah, it's retreat is an amazing environment because it's about my growth too, as well as my clients, because I learn so much about being with other people, and when I'm away with them, I get to see them on the yoga mat, I get to see them around the dinner table, I get to see them laughing and letting the wind blow through their hair out on the beach. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
Do you always go to the same location? Do you have like a location you go to, or you change locations?
Yeah, I have been running yoga retreats on the Isle of Wight, which is a lovely environment, and we've had like this old Victorian house, and that's coming to an end. Unfortunately, the building's closing down, but we've been running them there, and the weekend retreats are fantastic. Friday to Monday means that people don't have to take a lot of time off work, but I'm going to set up another couple for next year, so we've got weekend retreats in the UK. But I want to start focusing as well on week retreats in Greece, because Greece is my soul home, to teach yoga and to feel like deeply connected to a place in the Mediterranean, which I have been going to now for 30 years.
Right.
And I've got my first Greek retreat in October, which is
exciting.
Had to get more villas involved because people are going, oh God, and I've got journalists coming along as well this time, which is going to be really super. Queen of Retreats, they're coming along to do a piece on my retreat. So it's really exciting.
That's fantastic. In Greece, I love Greek food.
Love it.
I've been to Greece once, and I've been to Athens.
Yeah.
So it's not really. I would imagine you're going to run one of your retreats in one of the islands rather than mainland.
Yes, on
Greece.
the islands. Yeah. Lefkas or Lefkada is the place, and also Santorini is probably one of my favourite islands.
Santorini, I know.
Mykonos, from a party perspective, is awesome. But it's great because it's evolving now. Greece is getting more retreat venues, which is really good. And again, to have that combination, I don't think it doesn't matter where you are necessarily, as long as it's all about the teacher. I think anything you choose to do with someone who's teaching you something, it's all about them. It's the ambience, yes, the food, yes, to make a completeness. And we've got the most amazing cooks, chefs on this retreat, just divinely turned up, this lovely young couple who are Greek, so they have a really lovely influence. And it's all really natural food. It's going to be a vegetarian week. The weeks are vegetarian weeks because the lightness of vegetarian food is really wholesome.
Are you vegetarian yourself?
I'm not. I know some people would think that's really bad.
Bad.
But that's all dogmatic, if I'm honest. It's like if you ask somebody to describe what a yoga teacher looks like, I'm not that.
That's why you're here today.
Right.
I've met lots of yoga teachers, but I wouldn't necessarily invite them here for the show because, I always say that this is something I wanted to talk to you about today. We will come back to the yoga, maybe. I always say that I'm as spiritual as I am materialistic.
Yes.
As some people see a conflict there, and I don't.
No,
and I know we had this conversation, and you agree that there's no conflict unless you see there is.
Right.
So what's your take on it? Can you have I have a big ego, and everybody knows that. But also, I find I see myself.
How about you describe that as a big personality? You and I have talked about ego. It's really interesting. But your original question is about spirituality and
be materialistic. But you see, when I say ego, there's the element. There's always the element of possessions and gadgets and money. So I have this side that is very strong, but I also have the strong spiritual side. I used to meditate, and I loved it, and and I read all the spiritual books and stuff,
which is obvious because that comes through very strongly when you talk.
But you see, I sometimes meet people and they feel conflicted. They say, hey, but like I do this, but then I want a new car and I feel almost bad. I said, why do you feel bad about it? Like, you like this car, go and get it.
But then it all comes down to everything is a story. It depends which story you choose. Joel will always talk about this. It depends which story you choose to live by. And how is a no bullshit coach supposed to look? What are his characters, and can you be, I mean, this goes down to beautifully leading into this post that I put on Facebook a few weeks ago about being, congratulating the Tories for winning the election. And you have to be quite brave when you put things out on social media and stand by them. And I wasn't going to back away from what I did, but I expressed my views and congratulated the Tories and everything else. And then I got an absolute barrage back of, well, that's not very yogic, because they talk about badger culling and killing foxes and all of that sort of stuff. So people were looking at me as much as say, well, you can't have that view and be a yoga teacher and be spiritual. So there's this, but the conflict is with other people, Michael. I mean, if you live with your own conflict of things, then there's some work to do. But if other people bring you a conflict, it's not in you, it's in them. So therefore, you mustn't own it.
And basically,
if you own it, then it becomes your problem. But it's all a story. I mean, ultimately, what story do you choose to live by that feels good? You like flash cars, you like nice girls, nice money, big money, and you are a spiritual man. Perfect.
And I'm happy. And I say to people, listen, stay true to who you are.
Right.
You happen to like this. You happen to like that. And
the ego, I was thinking about this last night because I actually didn't sleep very well last night because I was like sensing all the questions in my head, all excited and thinking about things. And we were talking about the ego before. Yeah. The ego is so interesting because from the widen the sort of aperture on yoga to spiritual growth, self-development, it's bullshit now to talk about getting rid of your ego. I think that's
nonsense.
It's part of your personality. Joel talks about multiple perspectives happening at once, and our ego is necessary. What do you think protects you when there are other people coming at you? It's part of your personality. So when people talk about ego, I like to talk about personality.
I find people who...
Ego is a word that people use because they feel threatened by your greatness, your lightness. It could be attached to jealousy. It's quite a finite line. And should we use the word anymore? We're evolving.
When I come across people, when I say like spiritual people, what I mean by that is someone who, and that's like a stereotype, but that's the stereotype I have in my head. It's they don't look after themselves. They don't smell very nice often because they don't think they don't need to shower every day necessarily, but that's extreme. And they wear particular kind of clothes, and if it's a woman in her 50s, she will have a grey hair always, because like, it's nature and everything. It's like,
hairy armpits.
I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember my ex-girlfriend went to it was like I think a vegan festival or something like a few years ago. She went there, and there was this woman on like a little stage, say no to shaving your legs. Say no to shaving your legs. And my ex-girlfriend was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then there was something to do with the leather, and then she realized she had like a big leather bag. She went there like all dressed up, and she was like, they were looking at me funny. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And when I come across these people sometimes, they're usually very nice people, but I also find them completely withdrawn. Like they're not grounded in the reality. I mean, this is freaking the reality. This is not an ashram in India, this is the Western world. And if you choose to live your life like that, I have no problem. That's none of my business. But don't judge me
for living life another way.
For being a bit flashy
and taking a shower
and expecting don't judge me for expecting my girlfriend to shave her legs.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And again, it's all story. It's all dogma. And actually, it's very interesting as you talk about the spiritual crew. I've spent a lot of time in the last 15 years around some people, you could call people hippies or whatever you want to call them. And there's some assholes and there's some nice ones.
And it's always,
I've met people who are very rich and there's some assholes and there's some nice ones. that's just people, you know, and they choose to have their dogma about what you should and shouldn't be like. And cruelty to animals, I mean, don't get me started on that subject because I can't bear it. So I would never condone it anywhere, but I also can't tell other people how to live their own life. I mean, although in terms of yoga, people call me a teacher, I'm actually a guide. I'm an assist.
What's the difference?
Because if you're teaching something, but basically you're paying something forward that's coming through you. So you learn things and you pass on your wisdom. So is it teaching? I'm not sure. It's a word that's got edges to me. So I like to say I'm a guide, I'm an assist. So when I'm with somebody, I always invite them into this world of yoga through their own body, through their own experience. But it means nothing unless they have direct experience. You know, teaching is an offering. You take it and then it's your direct experience that gives you your own experience of that. Then you pass it on, which comes on to my life motto is live, learn, love, and then pay it forward. That's what I'm here to do.
Live,
learn,
love, pay it forward.
Yeah.
Right. So
sometimes you have to live, or you do have to live in order to learn. A lot of people can't love until they've learnt, and then you pay forward the wisdom.
Fantastic. I can tell straight away that there is a yoga teacher and there is you, because what you create for these people is the experience. It's like you're taking them on this personal development journey. It's not just about learning some moves.
It's their own journey, and the journey can be as long or as short. I mean, on a retreat, they might find a block and they go, I don't want to go any further than that, and that's their business. It's not mine. And I'm a very nurturing person. I'm a very loving person, and I don't think, when I look at my business, I think, God, there's all these people coming out of the world. I mean, on social media, Michael, I just have so much love. It is unbelievable. On my birthday, all these people are coming out of the woodwork, and I have not met 80% of these people that are friended with on Facebook. And yet there's just love, 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 love. And that's one of the most amazing things.
Well, I have this rule on my Facebook. If I see somebody posting negative comments, not negative comments, like negative posts, I don't unfriend them, but unsubscribe from them. I don't want to see this negativity. Like I remember, just to give you an example, a few years ago, someone said, "Oh, fucking Transport for London." I'm like, what makes you think that I want to read this?
Yeah.
Because it's not about Transport for London, it's about the negativity I'm being exposed to, and I happen to be sensitive to energies. And I'm like, it's not about the word fucking, because I use this word a lot, but I don't, if I make fun of something, I use the word fucking, it's in a playful way, and I think it's clear for people, and it is for me anyway. So I'm just going to unsubscribe. So I end up with a post that are either positive or funny or something I can learn from. So I don't understand when people complain that, this post or that post, I'm not, just unsubscribe from it, So then you end up with people, and you just feel the love.
You do.
And I look at my Facebook, and I spend lots of time on Facebook, as you know, and I don't apologize and you spend so much time on Facebook. So what? I choose what I do with my time.
Social media is really useful. I mean, from KPI, we social media is all part of it.
Yeah.
And I've always, I didn't extol the virtues of Twitter because I haven't got that much time to be on social media. So I've chosen, around Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. And I find Facebook very wholesome. I mean, it's evolving and changing.
Yeah, it's
but you're right about, people with negativity, because it's like, what is that? Again, it's story.
Yeah.
What story do you choose to put on something that either makes you feel better or worse?
Yeah.
And I think some people, I don't shy away from negativity because I think that there's a place for negativity, and also there's a way to share your suffering without looking like you're just like wanting everyone to come running around you
or just
in
being
a victim
angry,
way.
just like criticizing, like commenting on something in like unpleasant experience. Yes, I'm talking about that. Or like the anger, like I don't want to be exposed to anger. That's the reason why I don't watch news. So I'm gonna.
Do you ever get angry?
Yes. But very, comparing to like the way I would get angry in the past, very rarely and not to a high degree. It's very manageable, kind of. And I wouldn't explode on unless I'm a client, but like I do it purposely sometimes, just to keep their ass.
Yeah.
But it's like with love, it's like a loving anger.
But as long as we know that negativity is not unwanted, because I think in the spiritual world, it's like, get rid of your ego, get rid of your negativity. You shouldn't be angry.
Always be happy.
Oh yeah, always be happy. If you've done 20 years of self-growth, you mean you angry? Well, I have been angry in the last 2 weeks, like loads, because there's stuff coming through. But you know what, for me, where spiritual work works is that to accept that you will always be angry on and off, accept that you will always have negativity coming through, because you can't have good without negative. It's just like day and night, ebb and flow, love and hate. All these things come through. But with self-growth,
they come in pairs.
That's right, and it gives you the tools to be able to work through the pain that comes up. That's what self-growth is to me.
That's exactly how I feel, because I had this interesting experience. I used to be like everybody else when it comes to getting angry. Like, I could get angry very quickly. Even when I missed the train, the door closes in front of my face. Like, fuck. And I said to myself, and we're talking, I don't know, a couple of years ago, 6-7 years ago. And I said to myself, I don't want to live my life like that. I'm getting angry because I missed the freaking train. The next one's coming in 10 minutes. What's the point? And I said, okay, I'm gonna watch myself next time. I want to see what happens in my body. I want to see if I can control it, if I can understand it.
Right.
So next time it happened, what I realized is that the anger comes from here somewhere. It felt like a wave of chemicals, and there's a very short window of opportunity when you can actually say, okay, that's just, come on, and just, you can, no, it's okay, it's just a train. And I've practiced that, and I've managed to kind of control it to the point that if I chose to, I wouldn't get angry at all. But I don't see the reason for not expressing myself sometimes, because like you were saying.
Post I put out on Facebook yesterday is everything is energy. Okay, so but where we fall down is because we put words to it. Okay, so if you feel everything comes through as a sense, something will come in and it will go through your filters and beliefs, and suddenly there's an energy that's like, I feel angry, I feel hurt, I feel disappointed, I feel upset, and that is so normal. But we put the words to it, and then we create a story from it as to what it means, when that's probably bullshit too. And with that, we continue to emote and react. That's where we go wrong, I think, because if that's unchecked, then we create world wars, which we have done. What you've described there beautifully is about energy coming through, and if you sit with it and allow it through, this is what's happening now with counselling, psychology, and all of those things. It's going that way. Allowing people to sit with this emotion that's coming through without labelling it, and I think that's where we're going.
But the point I was trying to make is that I will feel this coming, but I'm not gonna let it take over.
Right.
Because I say, hold on a minute.
That's right.
And I'm not saying if a disaster would happen, I would lose someone I love.
No, of course.
But not because of a fucking train.
That's right.
I just said to myself at that point, I will not allow silly, unimportant stuff to get me out of my balance. So I'm not saying I'm always happy, because I'm not, but I'm not gonna get angry because I'm trying to make a porridge in the morning and I run out of milk, and fuck, I ran out of milk. Right. That's not a big deal.
That's right, exactly. And it's allowing it through. One of the bravest things you can do is sit with it. Most people do not want to sit with emotion. They don't. They want to get rid of it, so they will drink, shag, take drugs, anything.
I will do those things still.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
For different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. But
especially in the same time.
Yeah. So to do that is fine, but if you medicate the emotions away, they won't go. I mean, one of the top 5 things, if you said to me, what are the top 5 things you've done in your life that are amazing? One of them is 10 days in silence. Meditation retreat, 10 days in silence.
Freaking the hell out of
it. It's 10 and a half hours of meditation a day. And so basically you sit constantly with what comes through, and oh my god, the stuff that comes up sometimes, and you sit with your mind. You don't have a book or a mobile phone. All of your belongings are put into a cupboard for 10 days, and you don't even catch eyes with, and women and men are separated in case you're looking at the hot stuff over the other way there. You've got to keep within your thing. And it's done with a lot of love. I mean, there are rules around it, but it is one of the most phenomenal things, because I find the human mind one of the most fascinating things ever.
Sure.
I don't care about There's all the personality stuff, but it's the mind. What the mind can do is quite phenomenal. And most people are minds on legs. They don't know that their body's there. They just go, they live here.
Minds on legs. Tell me more about that.
The mind, if you were to draw it on a picture, what would it look like? It's a very spurious thing because there isn't a physical mind, right?
Yeah.
The body you can draw, somebody with a head and 2 arms and 2 legs. But many people, the mind is over there and the body's over there. And so how I wrap my yoga is I help people come into their bodies, help them to understand their bodies really well, and also to live in their bodies rather than here. Because the malaise of humanity, the speed of life, that we live in our minds, we don't live here enough. And that's why I help people come back in, because people are dying of this disease of the mind.
It's very interesting. And both meditation and yoga are ways to bring the attention back to the body, right?
Yeah. So
all the breathing exercises, all of this stuff.
That's right, exactly. And so it's not you can go to yoga, and I reckon there's a lot of people that go and do yoga, but they're just doing the postures and then they leave.
That's what I was doing. So I was
it's not yoga. That to me isn't yoga. Yoga is a way of life, and but my way is to complete things. I like completeness. So to complete this relationship between mind and body is fascinating, and the bridge between the mind and the body is the breath. And the breath is always present. So most of us are thinking about what's coming next. So you're thinking about the next question, and you're also partly here, but part of you is somewhere back there as well, thinking about yesterday, last night. We dart around between
past and future,
right? And we talk about presence, too, And presence it can become corny to talk about, bring your mind to the present. I mean, that sounds like bollocks as well. But I know what I mean by that.
It's like, I know, but how?
How do you do that? Be yourself, love yourself. I mean, it sounds so corny. When you arrive in the place, it's the best thing in the whole wide world. But your body is the greatest gift that you will ever be given. So why abuse it? Yes, we all do. I mean, I've smoked, Michael. I've drunk. I've bloody well enjoyed myself and probably treated my body crap at times. We do, I'll have a chocolate binge and but I always come back to the natural essences, appreciation of the body, gratitude for the body, and help people arrive in their bodies through this mental noise. If you watch people, I worked at Gatwick for 17 years. I was in the corporate world, and I would go into the departure lounge, people just going on holiday, and watch them. And we're all so distracted. We've got phones. I mean, phones are one of the biggest distractions now. Internet. I mean, I can feel myself flowing into that. But for me to come back into this stillness is as important as the doing. Because otherwise it becomes about the to-do list, the chasing. It's fucking madness. Seriously.
Have you heard somebody saying, we are not human doings, we are human beings?
We are. I love that.
Yeah.
Simple but good.
One of those, Wayne Dyer, I think.
Those guys. All these spiritual teachers are teaching presence, if you like, in their own way.
Yeah.
And for me, I was talking to Danielle Marchant, the lady does the pause, and she was saying to me, what I notice about you is you teach embodiment. So you're helping people come into their own bodies, because stress is the separation between the mind and body. Right? Most people are like, I can't cope on some particular aspect of their lives. Their bodies are just being drenched in cortisol, adrenaline, and that really affects your health. Yeah. You can't live on that.
How do you keep yourself healthy? What's your daily rituals or habits or the things that you do to keep yourself healthy?
Doing some yoga.
That doesn't surprise me, actually.
Drinking green tea. Cheeky tea. I drink Holly's green tea pretty much every day.
We have a friend called Holly. What's her name?
Holly Helt.
Holly Helt. Yeah. She makes amazing tea.
Oh, if she's in Japan, but I think she's coming over later on the year. You must interview her. She's so gorgeous. But green tea is her way of connecting.
She brings some tea probably.
In fact, I should have bought you some. I had some at home. It's amazing stuff. I mean, I do that. I think it's moments of stillness that have the most appreciation in my day. I mean, I've got a to-do list and I enjoy the things I do. Of course I do. I teach, I've got my business to run. My mother's ill at the moment, so we're sort of doing stuff around. Joel and I have got our relationship socially and everything else. We have a good life. But my deep appreciation comes from the moments of stillness where I can be still, where I don't have to do anything and be still. And actually, if I've got tight muscles and stuff, I don't get into some big stretching routine. I just become still. It's one of the most,
fades away.
And meditation is any form of taking your mind away from thinking. So you could be, I don't know, what would you choose to do where your mind is taken away?
But see,
from
I had this theory that that's why people get into extreme sports, for example.
Yeah.
Because if it's extreme sport, you cannot think. You have you have to be present.
Right.
And the same when we have orgasm, this is the split second when we don't think. So I think that's part of the drive towards extreme sports and sex.
Yes.
You know, because
and
this
drugs.
and
drugs.
You
because
know,
the higher
it alters your.
Yeah, and I've heard people say, you know, people who do drugs, it's a way of connecting to the divine presence, and it does it quickly. For what I mean, people who hallucinate and everything else go, wow, okay, so this world is only a bunch of illusion.
So it's like whether drugs, alcohol, sex, extreme sports, meditation, we search for the same thing.
We do, but I think there's a price. If you do drugs,
well, there are better ways than, of course.
Sex maybe not, but if you do, well, it depends. If you hurt yourself, like 50 Shades of Grey. I saw it in Spanish, by the way. You know, those things are about getting this divine, I mean, you know, connection to the divine or whatever you want to call it, but you're harming your body.
Yeah. So basically,
alcohol, you'll harm your body. Smoking, you'll harm your body. Drugs, you'll harm your body eventually.
Extreme sports, you can kill yourself.
Extreme sports usually is very full of adrenaline, cortisol. But yes, you're right. It is presence. Yeah.
So it's so basically.
But there's a price to that.
Yeah, basically, meditation and yoga is a way of getting to the same outcome without side effects.
Right.
Just in a sustainable way.
Yes.
But try to.
And you grow.
But try to say that to the drug addict. So listen, no, leave this heroin. Just.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. We look for the same thing. I think we are so similar at the core level. We are all the same.
You're absolutely right. And you, with the drugs thing and everything else, I do think that a lot of that fuels it is escapism from the shit life that they might have. I mean, a lot of your clients, wealthy people who have got successful businesses, I doubt if any of them do drugs and drink and everything to extreme because they're not unhappy. So, but when people come to the yoga mat, there's a lot of fear because they've got to face that shit. Coaching, they have to face that shit. Yoga, they have to face that shit, but they might not want to. And so I can understand people not wanting to do that.
Absolutely. I want to come back to one thing that you said, use the word acceptance there. And I find it is a very, very important part of personal development. And even when I work with people and they're not in a great place to begin with within themselves, I say, hey, don't beat yourself up for the fact that this is where you are. We're going to be working towards it. For now, just accept that temporarily this is where you are.
Right.
Because if you don't learn, you know, I'm just stating the obvious here. If you don't learn to accept what you have, you will never be satisfied because you will always be looking for something else, right? So just let's accept, I always say, let's accept where we are right now in a process of changing that.
Yeah.
Because what's the point? If, for example, you are obese and you decide, I'm going to lose my weight, you don't hate your body for the next year because it's going to take a year if you're obese to get to a decent shape, right? No matter who you do it with and how you're going to go about it. So just accept that for now, this is, you know, it's not always going to be like that. Just accept that because whether you're going to accept it or not, the body will not change. And you can have a year of, yeah, it's okay, I'm working towards changing it. Or you can have another year of just hating the way you look.
Right. It's very powerful. Acceptance and gratitude.
And I, you know, I hear a lot of people and I hear a lot of talk about gratitude, not so much about acceptance. So I wanted to hear kind of your...
I think that's right because actually that's part of self-love.
But like, how can you say accept and what about the point of coaching and this? I said, no. I'm not saying accept all the shit and just stick to it.
But it's a reset point, isn't it? You have to press reset before you can actually move forward. And acceptance is, okay, I accept who I am, I accept this, I accept that. I mean, if people accepted, I reckon there'd be a lot more forgiveness for the things that have happened. And it's very powerful, very powerful. It's not often in coaching used that much. So I think if you're using it, it's superb, brilliant.
Because I always say that if you're not happy in the situation that you're in, there's sometimes there are two options, but there's at least one option always. You can change the situation. Sometimes you don't have this option for whatever reason, but you can always change your attitude towards the situation. So you can accept when people come to me, for example, for career coaching, they don't like the job that they're in, and we're trying to find another career path for them, but sometimes we fail. Because I always say to them, we're going to find it if it's there to be found. If it's not, we're not going to find it. I'm not a magician, right? I'm just a coach. But I say, okay, we're going to be looking for it. But for now, just accept, look for the positives in this job. Like it pays the bills. Your boss is not that bad. Your hours are not that long. And just kind of reminding people, like, hey, listen, it could be much worse. And a few times I work with clients and we were looking for a different career path. We haven't found it. But I help them change the attitude towards the current role.
That's everything.
And the happiness level will go from 5 to 8 out of 10 or whatever. And the same job, the same boss, the same hours, the same pay.
But ultimately, a coach, I don't know.
No more resistance, just acceptance.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what it is.
Yeah.
For now, this is the best I can have.
Yeah.
I'm going to accept it.
Helping them press reset because they can't do it on their own. They need an assist and they need a guide.
Yeah, because
and ultimately, you're helping them access the infinite intelligence that's already in there.
That's it.
But you use words to be able to translate it in a way that they can.
That's it. And coming back to what you said at the beginning, they sold themselves on a story that the current job is shit.
That's right.
So it's like, fine, okay, let's explore the options, but for now, just accept it. And sometimes it's just like this. It's like, oh, okay, it's not shit anymore. It's just okay.
Yeah, we're trained not to. We're trained to want more. We're trained to want things. Yeah. We're trained to hate things as they are. We're trained to do. It's just madness. I
love what Jim Rohn said, who's my biggest influence in personal development. He said, "Be happy with what you have in the pursuit of what you want." Because when you think about it, if you're not, no matter what you're gonna get, what you're gonna pursue, always be like the satisfaction.
Well, this is part of the madness, isn't it? And then you go on to it's not the journey, it's the destination. Yes, no, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Sometimes, but it is. It's enjoying the present moment.
Yeah, if you don't enjoy the process of getting somewhere, you're gonna get there and like, oh, how many times we heard the stories like once I move to the central, like once I get this flat, I'm not here. It's like, first few weeks, like, oh my God. And it's like, it becomes a norm.
Right.
So it's like,
new car, you love it for a bit. And let's face it, we would love it's a bloody nice car showroom as you come out of Green Park Tube there, isn't there? Oh, what is that car? Whatever, it looks like a Lamborghini or something. But I guess if you got in it and you were driving it for a while and people would look at you in the street and everything else, but after a while I'd be like, oh really?
Yeah.
That is the way we are.
So I've learned I don't fool myself. I still want these things. I still have all these things that I want. But I don't fool myself for a second that they're going to make me more happy.
No.
The happiness is
intrinsic.
I need to...
Being happy for no particular reason is my pursuit, if you like.
So if someone can be happy in silence, they will never be happy no matter what they buy. Right? Or who they're going to meet and be in a relationship with. Initially, like we said, after this honeymoon period of being excited with a new gadget, with a new thing, then they back to where they were.
Yeah.
That's why all the yoga, and I know I said I don't like yoga, I said I hate yoga, but I also said, and this is important, that this is just one person's preference. And there's so many people that find what they're looking for in yoga practice.
Yeah, because it's...
Or meditation,
Because it's a search, Michael. I think people are searching for something greater than this madness that we've created. Yeah. We're going at such a speed. If you look at your clock, it's always like, where did the time go? I do think, people go, oh yeah, because you're older, time's speeding up. I don't think so. I've been talking to people who are in their 20s and in their late teens and they're going, oh, it's mad. Every time I look at the clock, it's really fast. So, I don't know, there's a speeding up, there's a not having enough time, all of this sort of malaise, and people now are looking for some other thing, and yoga is one of the vehicles. So, although yoga is a vehicle for me to bring this wisdom, I'm just... the stuff that's coming through at the moment, I'm like, Jesus, where did that come from? That's brilliant. In the middle of the night, I'll suddenly, it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Did I learn it, or did God give it to me? Whoever God is, or is there a divine presence? I do believe there is a divine presence. I don't know what you want to call it without sounding corny.
Yeah. I call it universe.
I don't do gods and dogs. I like dogs, but I don't do gods and that kind of stuff. But I do think there is a divine presence in it, and I believe we're all connected.
Absolutely.
There's like this sort of big sea of connection coming from somewhere, and we're not separate in any way.
And coming back, I think it was Wayne Dyer again, he said, we are not human beings having spiritual experiences sometimes. We are spiritual beings having temporary human experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I love.
And I think that's one of the things we're here for, to experience. That is, do we need a purpose? As long as we're enjoying the experience?
You know, people talk about, I want to leave the legacy. I was like, I don't want to leave any fucking legacy. I don't care. I want to have fun when I'm here.
You're going to skid into your coffin going, geez, that was a great ride.
Yeah, I don't care what I'm gonna leave behind. I really don't. You know, I really don't. Gina, it's been great having you here.
It's been wonderful talking. Thank
I
you
have
very much.
usually say I have a little gift for you, but I can't possibly say that this is a little gift. And I'm so happy that Joy is here with you, because maybe he might help you carry that. If not, I will send it to you. So what are the two things that Gina loves?
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I love it.
So
oh, thanks, Michael.
I hope you're gonna have enough place somewhere to put it.
That is so cool. Oh, bless you.
I'm gonna put it on the side here somewhere.
You're a star. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
We're gonna include all the links, especially to your retreats.
Yes.
So you guys watching it, you wanna check them out. And if you ever feel like a yoga retreat, or you know someone who feels like a yoga retreat, I personally guarantee you they're gonna have a great time. Probably even I would have a great time.
You would have a great time.
Can I go to a yoga retreat without doing any yoga?
I've got one space left in September.
But without doing any yoga?
No. You can look at the chicks, but you have to get on your mat.
But can I look at the chicks from the mat being on my phone?
No.
I'm not going. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below if you have any. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, Gina. Bye.
Thank you.